The Bite Me podcast is coming right up, and it is brought to you every week right here on YouTube by Freedom Boats. It is the best shallow running boat on the water, and there is a model perfect for you. The Chiquita 14, the Eagle 16, the Patriot 18, the Commander 21, the beautiful Warrior like I have 23, or the big boy that runs so shallow, the General 26. Chet Moore and Pooty can customize it however you'd like, and there's a dealer near you, whether it's the Boatyard in Kemah or dealerships in San Antonio, Beaumont, Corpus Christi, Port O'Connor, Houston, and Aransas Pass. Freedom Boats or freedomboatsusa.com. Well, all right. Who doesn't like a little drama? Everybody likes a little drama now and then. It keeps you healthy, keeps you invigorated. And we're going to have some of the Real Housewives of Aransas Pass joining us today, or at least we'll be talking about it here.
We're going to talk about them behind their back.
Oh, that's the best way. That's the best way. We'll do that today. That's Captain Dean Thomas's voice you just heard. Captain Scott Knoll as well. And boy, these boys were on some fish this week, including today. So we're definitely get to that when we talk about where they were, how they did, and what they noticed. Sometimes the full moon is not a deal breaker, and we found that out this week. And I think there's some theories on that. And one of the wildest, two of the wildest things you'll see, including a tuna, allegedly, we'll find out if it's allegedly, within a mile of the Port Aransas jetties, and giant tarpon between the jetties. Of course, that's not that unique a thing, but we'll talk about all that. Got a lot more here on the podcast. I'm John Lopez. You guys, really appreciate you joining us every week. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast. And of course, we are live on YouTube. I'll post this certainly within probably about 6 o'clock tonight on Tuesday. So let's not dilly dally too much. That's an old term. Because we have a lot to cover today. But let's start with this text I got. And I was just telling Scott before you joined us, Dean, or before you unmuted yourself, I was going through the text. And if you could just set up what we saw that on this group text on the Bite Me crew that we text in a group, because I couldn't quite place that place. But what was that? 6 boats, 7 boats? And what was the aftermath of all that? This Real Housewives stuff from guides and such.
Well, you could only. It appeared to be 6 in the frame, but they were doubled and tripled up, so there was probably 10 or 12 piled in there. And so, I mean, our area was. There's a term that was made famous many, many years ago called redfish rodeo. Mm-hmm. California Hole is still legendary, even though it hasn't happened over there in 20 years. But there's a few spots that are absolutely legendary. Happened before we ever came along. The guys that are there now figuring it out in the heat of summer and in the dead of winter. There's a couple places where giant schools of redfish, black drum, they congregate. And in this day and age, the drama that surrounds the competition for catching those fish is crazy. And the social media, the willingness for people to put their dirty laundry on the internet is quite entertaining. And I've said, when I use the Real Housewives of Aransas Pass, I'm referring to a certain portion of the guiding community that is just drama filled. They go on their social media and they call each other out. And it seems to be getting worse, man.
Give me an example. Give me that, because I didn't see the thread, and I think it was ended up being deleted. Like, what's going on?
It took about, it's been going on for like 3 or 4 days, and it started with one certain guide coming on and posting, and it was like 4 days before that. So he's posting pictures of, just limits 4 people in the boat with oversized reds. So he's posting pictures of, 13 and 14 reds hanging on the nails. And, you want to catch fish, come fish with me. Mm-hmm. And so every single day he's advertising these mega limits of redfish. And then everybody sees that. And
Mhm.
so, of course, now what do you expect? People are going to notice where you're at. They're going to start doing that. So the crowds came, but you can't really blame the internet because everybody knows about those spots. So they're
Yeah.
just going to get congested. And then
Mhm.
when one person finds out, they tell two, and then it just turns into this crazy madness. I will go out. I would rather not catch a fish than
Yes.
participate in that foolishness. And
Yeah.
so as they started crowding, the guides started calling each other out. And the craziest one was, I found these fish, I found these fish 9 days ago. And then supposedly people were watching him with binoculars. And then his buddy jumps on, taking up for him. And then the arch nemesis of his buddy's buddy starts his own thing of, you would never catch a fish if it wasn't for him.
Oh, I saw that one. Yeah, I saw
And
that
then
one.
it goes into that. But for anybody to claim that in one of the most legendary spots where these fish congregate every single year that the boats pile up, that he found these fish, you didn't find them. I mean,
Yeah.
it's where they live.
Well,
And then the other punchline to that whole story was he's calling out other guides while he's standing in front of a picture with 13, 14 redfish on the nails. And he's going to claim that all of these other so-called guides are going to be the demise of this school of redfish. I mean, he's calling people out for doing exactly what he's doing while posting a picture of him doing it.
the way you explain it is hilarious because it's also true.
I'm trying to be as clear as possible to explain the scenario.
Don't do this. Let me show you what I'm doing. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
Yes.
All right. So
yes.
I want to get back to you, but Scott, and by the way, anybody who's I didn't mention this at the top, waiting for Caleb. Apparently he's screwed, so to speak. That wasn't the word he used. In some sort of storm / traffic, or he's just running late, as Scott likes to say. That boy ain't right. But Scott, let's unpack a lot of what Dean said right there. Number one to me is, if you see a certain spot with a bunch of redfish this year, they probably saw it last year and the year before that, and they'll see it next year. That's first. And Dean alluded to that. Second, this whole guide drama about my fish,
Yep.
and all that. I want you to just kind of dig in on the silliness of it all.
Well, I mean, we've got it going on here between the jetties right now. The same thing with the tarpon. Those tarpon have been there for years and years and years. And we got a guy that's come down here and started fishing for them. And he started posting about them. Most everybody was catching them. You go over there, you catch. It's not super fun fishing because they're in 60 feet of water. They don't jump. You're dredging them off the bottom, and the guys are dragging croakers through there and catching them off the bottom. They're in 50, 60, 70 feet of water. They just stay down and they power it out. And they posted day after day, got 14 today, stuff like that. All right, well, that's cool. Well, you also have a very recognizable boat and you're between the jetties. And so now there's, I think the day that Tripp and I were out there was probably, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 boats. Over the weekend, there was 15, 20 boats just going in a circle, and drifting through there. And I found some fish that were further over, and I kind of know, where some other ones hang out. It's not always just in that one spot. And I went over there and started jigging for some of those later in the day after we'd been out on the beachfront looking. And said guide kind of looks over there where I'm at, comes over there, and I said, "Yeah, I just spotted found a school here." He says, "Yeah, I got to get away from that crowd. I don't know where that crowd came from." I'm like, "All right, well, you drew them in."
Yeah.
You're throwing potato chips for a flock of seagulls. I mean, it happens all the time. That's what Dean's talking about. It's like saying, the saucer in Port Mansfield is a secret.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the saucer. Everybody knows the Army hole here. Same thing happens here in the Army hole. But there's so many of these guides that make their living and their reputation off of how many fish they can hang on a damn board. And that's the only way they get customers. And so that's what they have to post up. It doesn't have to be that way. You can take pictures of your customers holding a redfish up with a smile on their face and say, hey, we're on them. Post a picture of the fish in the water being caught, whatever.
And you know, Scott, what's crazy about that is these guys over here that are arguing with each other have been guiding for 20 plus years. They're established. They would never have to post a picture and they're still going to be booked. I mean, they are well established, but their ego and their inability to not post a picture within 5 minutes of when they hit the dock overrides the ability to not draw those people into what they're doing. So, and it's, you know, I think that's like in those guys, the bait guides, which are 99% of the guides around here, do exactly the same thing. I mean, they just do. And I think it's the way that they want to kind of smack down everybody around them, their other colleagues, I guess, if you wanted to call them.
There's a whole lot of that.
Of look at what I did today. And, you know, the internet, the world is different nowadays. And I swear back, once upon a time, whenever you did that, the rule was to keep it a secret. You did not let that get out. And now it's like, bam. I mean, what the hell? It's the internet, man.
Yeah,
and you know who watches
everyone.
And you know who looks at your page more than your fans? Your haters.
Yeah,
and that is, you're going to have, and you do that like 8 or 9 days in a row, man, what do you expect? So, but yeah, I think they do that to stroke their ego.
Yeah, it's all an ego game. I mean, when it comes to that, I mean, if you're booked every day, why you bother with it? I mean, you're booked all week. Just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
You know? And honestly, what I found over the years is showing a video of tailing reds, showing somebody hooked up catching a fish from sight casting, showing 2 or 3 people on your boat holding up a big red with a fly rod or whatever. I get more calls off of that, more emails, more texts of people who want to go do that. You show me a picture of 18 boats piled into one damn hole, soaking bait. I don't care how many fish you're catching. I don't want to be a part of that.
Okay, so that's
zero want to do that.
That's a perfect segue into, I got questions for you guys, and just let me know when you want to jump in. First of all, my thought on the whole thing, y'all mentioned ego. To me, it's also greed. It's greed from whether it's a fisherman or a guide or whatever. Like I said, these are my fish, but it's not just that. It's like, I want them all. I want them all right here, even though it's a public waterway and it's public a spot, etc. But here's the questions I have. How is this fun? How is this fun for clients? Seriously,
I don't get it. I mean, same thing with these guys dragging the croakers for the tarpon. I'm looking at them in the afternoon and it's hot and it's still, and everybody on the boat looks miserable. I went by one the other day. He had 3 guys sleeping on the boat. They were laid out on the deck sleeping while they're dragging for tarpon. Now you got to wake a guy up and hand him a rod.
Yeah.
That's not fun fishing to me. I don't know. I get it. Some people got to check a tarpon off their bucket list. That's fine. But doing that day in, day out would wear me out. I'd much rather go down the beach and chase schools and look for schools and find my own fish down there than go sit in that crowd and do that over and over and over again. It's just mind numbing.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, you're not teaching the people anything. You're not teaching them how to find fish. You're not helping anybody learn to be a better fisherman by going to a hole and soaking bait.
I could not do it. If I had to do that, I would have a different career. I would be making nuts and bolts in a factory somewhere, because I don't care how many fish are there. I'm not going in that crowd. And the number one complaint, like Scott said just a minute ago about, or the question, is it fun? The number one complaint, and I do market research, man. We're sitting out there on the boat for hours and hours. You know, we talk about these things. The number one complaint is the guys that book a trip, go on a boat, the dude casts the rod for him, sets the hook, gets him a limit as quick as they can, gets them back at 9:30. I heard that just this week. Dudes were pissed off, man. They were like seriously unhappy about the experience they had. You know, they booked a trip months in advance. They're waiting for their day, and that's what they got for that. And I have asked people when they're standing on the boat, you know, drifting the flats, watching fish, seeing things, and casting at them, and doing their own casting, even if their cast is not that great, man. You know, if it starts at the beginning of the day and they're not that great, I tell them, I said, by the end of the day, you're going to be casting like a pro. I mean, it takes practice, it takes patience, and it is part of the game. But I've asked them, I was like, would you rather go sit over here for 1 hour, have me cast, hook a fish, and hand you the rod, or would you rather stand here all day and cast on your own and not catch fish? 100%, it's always the same. I would rather do this. I mean, the things they see, whether they catch the fish or not, are always more entertaining than that. And then it's a day on the water. It is a day. It's not 1.5 hours of somebody catching fish. I mean, if you want to watch me fish, go watch my YouTube channel. We just save you a lot.
Well, and Scott
booked a trip just yesterday, just as an example. A guy called me up and said, hey, man, I got a couple guys I want to take fishing for tarpon. And I went out with so-and-so last year, and I caught, you know, we caught 3 tarpon. And I said, well, just to let you know, I mean, I know how he fishes, and I don't really do that. He said, well, I've heard that you go out and chase them up and down the beach and go look for schools and cast lures at them. And I said, yeah, that's my game. And he said, that's what I want to do. He said, I don't ever want to do that other one again. And he caught 3 tarpon. And
oh, wow. Yeah.
I mean, well, he caught 3 tarpon with that other guy, and he does, you know, he'd rather go with me. And I told him, I said, it's a lower percentage game. There's no doubt about it. Chasing them up and down the beach, trying to find them. And we may not even see them all day. You just never know. Or we may just bust into them and have a great day. He said, I would much rather take a chance on that and go do that than what I did last year.
Well, and that speaks to another thing. Why do I fish? And I've fished my whole life. Same thing with Scott and you, Dean, is I want to get away. You know, I want to get away. I want to enjoy the boat. I like when Dean says, hey, let's take a ride. You know, when you go find another, you do a hunt and you're by yourself. Scott, you've changed your entire game over the years. And now you like to go into those back lakes in your skiff or up the beachfront where there's nobody else. You want to get away, and you're shoulder to shoulder with 7, 8, 9 other boats. To me, that kind of defeats the purpose, you know?
I mean, I may as well be sitting in traffic on the freeway.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt.
And another thing about like that. So the jetties got everybody's, I've been on the Kingfish. We've been out there every day. And at the tip end of the jetties, it is piled up. There are, today. I mean, we went out there today on a Tuesday with one of the lightest days of the year. School's starting everywhere. It's a weekday. There's just very few boats out there. There's still this morning a dozen boats at the tip end of the jetties. And it's inviting, man. It's alive. I posted a video today of the bait fish and the birds at the tip end of the jetties. Man, the water is just going crazy. But I spend every one of the fish that I have caught have been a mile away from the crowd. I go straight through that crowd and just keep going and going until I'm away from every other boat that's crowding around the jetties. But it's the same as those dudes that are parking on those redfish and those ones. They see a pile of boats and they join into that crowd. And then those guys at the jetties, they go out there, they see the birds, they see these minnows, they see this bait fish jumping, and they see all these other boats. Boom, I'm right here. Man, these dudes are trolling around each other. They're hooking each other. They're running over each other's lines. And I have I mean, by getting away from them, I've been more successful by avoiding that crowd.
Yeah. I thought you had something.
No,
The other thing is, at the back to the drama, guides know this. Is it just a crutch? Is it just a paycheck? Because I don't want to go with a guy, and maybe Dean references, but I want to get your point, Scott, because you talked about the teaching and all that. But it's easy. It's like punching the clock to me. I go down there to get away from work. But if you're just sitting there, it's punching the clock. They know that this is good. There's going to be a lot of boats there. They know it's going to be boring. What about the drama here? Why do they act like that?
I don't know. I have no clue. There's guy drama all the time. There's always something going on. And
hey, the fun part is that we can read it now.
Yeah. Used to be you just had to hear it at the docks, which I just didn't participate. I just kind of walked off, and whenever that kind of stuff started up, they tried to drag me into it a couple of years ago with the tarpon stuff. It was ridiculous. I posted a video of one of my customers catching a tarpon, and you'd have thought that I posted a picture of a murder. There was nothing in the background. There was absolutely nothing but Gulf of America in the background. That was it. Nothing. And I got calls immediately. Why are you posting that? You're showing people where we're at. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, well, so-and-so said you were posting the video and it showed the background and it showed this. I said, have you looked at the video? No, but so-and-so told me that.
Yeah.
I was like, well, until you go look at the video, we're hanging up.
It's like a big old sewing circle, man. It's just like a big old.
Once upon a time when people posted those pictures, they would like blur out all of the background.
Oh, some people still do that.
The majority of them I see now make no effort to even block out the background. It's like, whoa. Whoa. I was like, you realize this is on the internet. The internet is vast. It's pretty much but the drama that goes with it, man. And usually we have to wait till wintertime whenever these dudes are like not working and they're sitting on their phone too much, is whenever the Real Housewives get cranked up. I found it quite entertaining that we get a middle of summer episode. It's like a new season
release.
It's a new release. It's like you've been waiting on Netflix. 6 more weeks for my show. My show's in 6 more weeks. Hopefully you're not listening to this podcast from the side of the road because you have trailer problems. It happens to the best of us. It happens to all of us. Master Hitch. Scott Pinkley and the guys over at Master Hitch, they've been in business for more than 30 years, and they are behind you all the way. See what I did there? We're talking about everything you can possibly imagine. Towing equipment, fifth wheels, goosenecks, towing accessories, cargo carries, bike racks, wiring and electrical, and of course, boat trailers, trailer parts, 713-974-4440, 713-974-4440 or masterhitch.com. All right, so while we're on the blue water a little bit here, or at least the jetties, we got to tell this story because a lot of people flat out, I know Scott has some thoughts on this, but Dean, I'll start with you. Friend of ours, Trip, you mentioned him earlier, reliable source, knows fishing. He's been out on the water a lot. What's that? Go ahead, Scott.
He's a surgeon. I mean, the guy's pretty reliable.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead on. We'll go. Good
source. A good source.
Good source. A reliable source.
So he's half a mile. Just as a little backdrop here, the blue water this past weekend was in all the way in, and I know you're going to elaborate on that. It was blue. It was gorgeous. It was all the way in. He's out there fishing on his skiff. And he sees the profile break the water, doesn't see the face because it catches his attention, but he sees everything else and swears up and down it was a bluefin tuna.
And it wasn't just the profile, it was 1 foot from the front of his boat.
Yeah, it wasn't like way out. Yeah, it was right next to his boat. So these things have there's stories, myths, truths, whatever you want to call it. A bluefin tuna, a half a mile from. I'll start with you, Dean. A half a mile from the shoreline. What are your thoughts?
Okay, first of all, it is plausible because There are no fences that stop fish from swimming past a certain distance. Okay, it is plausible because the blue water that was like indigo blue was inside the jetties. And the life that came with that was amazing. And it is plausible because in the past, sailfish have been caught at the jetties. The pelagic species have been caught. And it is not plausible because I got nothing on that one, man. It's crazy. But so Trip came to, and Trip is a good friend, fished with me, fished with Scott. He's a surgeon. And he came to us with this story. And I tried. I mean, I tried to
poke holes in it.
100%. I mean, I went and he described the thing. The one that gave it away was down the back from the dorsal fin to the tail, all of the little the little fins. I'm sure there's a name for those fins, but and he even was in such awe of what he saw. You know, he even sat and absorbed it for a moment to just kind of take in what he actually saw. It's tough. I mean, it's a tough one.
Scott,
I had him on the boat the next day. Yeah, he had slipped out there on his skiff and what he was doing. There's a whole bunch of little Spanish mackerel right now on the beachfront, just tons and tons of these little. They're 10 to 14-inch Spanish mackerel, and they're just absolutely destroying micro bait. There's a quarter acre, half acre of them at a time pops up, and that's what he was doing. He was throwing a fly into those little Spanish mackerel and messing with them. He's still leader, so he's losing a lot of flies. But he said while he was standing on the bow of the boat, trolling motor in, just getting ready to cast to those little Spanish mackerel, and he heard the whoosh and looked over. And I'm thinking, okay, well, you're talking about how big? I put my hands out and like 2 feet, 3 feet, and he goes, no, like 6 feet. And then he described the tail, and the way he described it, this big sickle tail and the fins along the base of the tail, the little sharp edges. I can't think of anything else it could have been.
And the shape of it. It was
football. Yeah,
exactly. He just, described how round it was.
And he's not one of these crazy guys that's just going to make up a story.
Yeah,
that's the other part of it. He's got no reason to. I don't know, man. Like I said, Stephen Reed caught the sailfish at our jetties just a few years ago, and where we were at, where he told me that tuna came to the top. I mean, it wasn't maybe 4 or 5 miles from there.
Yeah,
and the clear water has been in. It's like what happens with that clear water. We got the Gulf Stream out there, and it'll shoot off a little wad of, real super clear water every once in a while. A little eddy will pop off of it and come into the shore, and that's when we get that super clean water. And that stuff that you normally don't see till you're 15, 20, 30 miles out pops up and comes in real close. And I guess with that, it could bring whatever's out there in the deep. Just follow that eddy on in. I know that's how the sailfish end up here, because that's the only time that happens. When you hear about sailfish getting caught right up close is when we have one of those eddies break off. So, I don't know, man.
And tuna are typically caught 80 miles offshore.
Yeah.
At least.
And it's where they start and beyond.
But here's the thing, Dean, and I think I mentioned this to you and Trip when we were talking about this. There's no city limit sign. If the water's that clear, if the Gulf Stream is moving into a certain area, bluefin tuna or any species, they're not going to say, "Oh, we can't go there." We're not supposed to go there.
It goes back to what Scott said. You get these fish ride the currents, they chase the bait, they're in that current Gulf Stream, however you want to think about it. But yes, it could have carried all of that biomass from offshore to near shore. I mean, I'm still I'm still stuck
I
on.
bought it.
We tried. I
Yeah.
mean, I tried to everything I could to discount his theory.
Well,
I can
here's
tell
the
you
other.
that the joke all day long, every time a dolphin came up and blew or anything came up and blew all day long on the boat.
Hey, look, a bluefin.
There's a tuna. There's another tuna.
There's another tuna. But and John Morris was talking about. I thought they liked the cool or cold water, Scott. I mean, they're coming up, but it is cooler. I don't know if it's cool enough.
Yeah, it's not cold water, or it's cooler water, I guess, being out there in the Gulf Stream. But I don't know, man.
So even the blue, the blue water was still 84 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were out there this morning. So the outgoing tide had there's green water in the bays. There is no dirty water right now. The wind hasn't blown in a week. It's crystal clear. Even in the Lydia Ann channel and the Rances channel, you can see the bottom in 10 to 15 feet right now. So the outgoing tide was pulling green water out the jetties this morning, but you go to the rip line on the outside of that rip line and it's still blue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what about the theory of if you can catch a sailfish and has been caught and they've been seen multiple times that close to the shoreline, if you're going to Costa Rica or Cabo or whatever, who do sailfish swim with? They swim a lot of times. They swim with tuna. They're not exclusive of each other. They do tend to go in packs.
Yeah, but the water is 3,000 feet deep.
There's a big difference in the depth here. Where he was at, it's probably about 20 feet right through that area. I mean, it's not deep at all. But I knew John Cargus would come in there with finlets, the small structures between the dorsal and the caudal.
Yeah,
I knew if anybody was going to come up with the right name for it, it'd be John.
Finlets.
Resident scientist that we have. Thank you, John, for
So that's a perfect tie-in again. Pretty smooth transitions here, boys. It's funny what happens when Caleb can't make it. Anyway, I'm just kidding. That's another good transition to where you were, how you did, and what you noticed, because I noticed a couple things, and I had real fear of missing out, real jealousy working. First with Scott, we're talking about what really gets people going in terms of wanting to book you and such. Beautiful video, man. Fishing in flats, it looked like it was about 6 or 8 redfish kind of in a little tight ball, and you're casting right to it. So there's that. And then Dean, 45-inch bull red today. So let's start with Scott. What this past week, where you were, how you did, and what you noticed.
Man, this past week was wild. I mean, I did 2 guys on the Poland skiff, pushing them around, throwing conventional. Then the next day, took 4 of them out, and we tarpon fished. And then the next day, I took 4 of them out, the same 4 guys, and we went wade fishing. And then I did a Poland skiff fly, and then I went back out on tarpon.
Is that all?
I went back to the Poland skiff, and then back to tarpon. I haven't run Poland skiff or tarpon 2 days in a row. I've been switching boats every day, but catching fish every day. Finding fish. We're finding plenty of tarpon out there. They really weren't too enthused about eating on the full moon. They were around. We ran them down a couple of times, got some cast in on them. They just didn't want to play. The redfish, on the other hand, didn't seem to give a rip about the full moon.
We're getting to that too.
I mean, it was just really good. I've had plenty of tailing fish, little small schools, and then this afternoon pulled out onto a flat, getting ready to leave, really, and kind of ending up our day, and rolled right into a gigantic school of small reds just tailing like crazy. Caught one out of it, blew the school up, looked over, and there's a whole nother school coming across the flat. Man. And there's another school over there and another school over there. It was just covered up. And then as we got done with that, we drifted out to the edge, so I could get out there where I could run. And I said, y'all might want to keep casting on this drop off here. And they caught a couple trout. Fishing's just good. It's whatever you want, dealer's choice.
Yeah. Dean, boy, that you've been killing the. I want to get out there so bad, so bad. But you've been killing the kingfish, but also bull reds like crazy. Were you fighting the crowds on the ends of the jetties, or where'd you find that thing?
Well, today was the first day that the bulls came up on the surface.
Okay.
And I mean, yeah, man. I mean, I've been hitting the flats in the morning early, and then doing double duty and hitting the jetties about 10 o'clock, and then catching 2 or 3 kings before the day is over. But today was so in the summer, there's always a time. So there's a crab migration where you see the crabs like free swimming up on the surface, and they catch the outgoing tide. And the end of the jetties today was probably more natural because of the lack of boat traffic. That's why there was. And I posted a video on the Bite Me Facebook page today, a short 9-second video of the surface of the water. It was just alive. So the lack of boat traffic may have allowed those reds to come up to the surface kind of undisturbed. There wasn't a lot of activity that was pushing them down or chasing them around. So, but at this time of year, there's always good shots. I mean, the bulls are going to be, a lot of people are fishing with bait down deep on the bottom from the jetties. They're caught throughout the year. There's certain times of the years where the schools come up to the surface. I mean, you can see them. And in that crystal clear water, you see the schools of them. And it's usually the end of August, 1st of September when that takes place. And it does. I mean, it coincides with light boat traffic. Summer used to end at Labor Day because school didn't start till after Labor Day. There was one big hoorah, and Labor Day is kind of like a non-event now because so many schools start early. There was 0 boat traffic on the water today. Absolutely amazing. Had everything to myself. But the chance to do that, I mean, if you really want to be patient and hang around the jetties, I mean, there's a lot of people that get them on the fly. If you can spot them, you can cast to them. Conventional stuff, spoons, they're like a big 2-ounce spoon thrown at those schools is just automatic. I mean, they work those things. And then when you're catching them up on top, you don't have to worry about deflating them. They don't blow up like bringing them from the bottom. So you hit them on the surface. But I mean, and the thing about the jetties and the blue water, it is a limited opportunity. It is a short season. And, I get blue water fever when it's there. That's all I want to do. Because it's not going to be there that long. I mean, you got until a storm hits us, or like the first 2 weeks of September can still be pretty decent.
Yeah, no, I've got it big time right now. But go ahead, Scott. You look like you're ready to.
The bull reds that he's talking about on the surface. If you can find a time when the tide's going out, those big old crabs, it's big female crabs full of eggs, and they're just, if you see that foam line, we're on a current rip, start looking at just underneath that foam line, and you'll see those big bulls just cruising the foam line just a foot or two under and looking up, and they're looking for those big crabs. If they find them, it is loud. It sounds like a 55-gallon drum goes off. Just dropped in the water. It's pretty impressive how hard they hit them. Mark's working on a DOA crab for me. I've been giving him a hard time about it because he's been working on it for like 4 years now. And he sent me a few of them that he hand poured, and I kind of cherishing them. I don't want any bull reds to eat them, but he's making a crab that kind of floats along, kind of neutrally buoyant, and it'll float along like that. I can't wait to get me a day where those bulls are doing that and just let that thing float along there in the current and let one come up and crush it.
Yeah. Well, and again, let's get to what can really help our listeners with some knowledge here. And it's not just blue water; it's water everywhere. You referenced it a little bit earlier, Scott, but and Dean sent me a text, or maybe he told me about the rhythm of the moon. It doesn't always; it's not always textbook. You know, Scott, you had that great video, and it was a full moon, man. I mean, it was a classic full moon. Oh, there's not going to be anything there. Dean, I'll start with you. I enjoyed some of it because I was out early Saturday, and that was the morning after the full moon was still up, you know, and had a little bit of success. What is it, the time of year, or what is it about the full moon that, you know, a lot of time turns off people, but didn't turn off the fish this time?
That's just the fishing gods slapping my theory back into my face.
Because it was active.
But I'll take it. I mean, I'm okay with getting that kind of smackdown opposed to the other kind. Yeah, so fishing is full of theories, and we explore those quite often on this little Bite Me podcast. And as we have said before, rules are there to be broken. I've been a habitual rule breaker
since middle school.
It started a little sooner than that, if you check my records. But the fish are going to do what the fish are going to do. Generally speaking, seasonally, weekly, or monthly and weekly, there are rhythms to nature. And because we choose to do it with lures and pursue them whenever they are aggressively feeding, when they're active, there is a rhythm to that. You can go throw a chunk of mullet on the bottom and you can catch a fish that normally wouldn't be aggressive or hunting or on the prowl. So there is something to be said for that rhythm of nature and the way that plays out. If you're going to make it a challenge and go that route, then you follow that rhythm and you kind of expect it to be that way. And then you go out, and then we've said that before. There's days when you go out the door where you're just like, man, I'm about to take an ass whipping of a life. It's like, I ain't caught fish in 3 damn days, and these people are looking at me. We got to make this happen. Boom. And then it just happens. And then there's days you've been on them for 3 days and you can't go wrong. And then where the hell did they go?
Yeah.
So you just be thankful that you were there, John, when it did happen.
But Scott, my amateur theory has been, I think we might have referenced this a couple times in the past, like the moon is a factor more so different times of the year. It just seems to me that different times of the year, when it's a full moon and you're trying to go out there, you either have to wait till the middle of the day, or you're not going to catch anything, or it's going to be very difficult. Why did it, in your theory, in your mind, and you've been on the water so much, was the moon just almost a non-factor this past weekend?
We had a good incoming tide, and things have been so hot up on the flats. And the place that I chose to go was right off of some really, really deep water that comes in off of a very deep channel. And it was sweeping up onto that flat and into the backwaters. And I think maybe it had a little more oxygen to it and a little more life. And that's the only theory I got for that. Because those fish, that tail end school, that video, that was like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that should have been dead.
It should have been dead. Should have been nothing going on. I mean, absolutely nothing. I had even told the guy, I said, as hot as it is on the full moon, by about 10 o'clock, we're probably going to be done. They're going to settle down. I was dead ass wrong. The fish were still active, still going, and we had caught fish all morning. That school was not the only school we saw. It just happened to be the one where I was in a position to get a video of it.
Yeah.
But I couldn't explain it. It was as busy. It was a Saturday with a full moon and 2 tournaments in Port O'Connor. And one of them was a John boat tournament.
Oh my gosh.
Honest to God, they have a John boat tournament here. And I've never seen so many John boats in my life as what I was launching with Saturday morning. It was insane. They were
Thought you was
everywhere.
in Louisiana back
And
in
it
Yeah,
felt like it. I
thought it was
like,
duck season. You thought it
where the
was
hell am I? Because this is not
thought it was
Florida time.
duck season in Delacroix.
Exactly.
It was so funny to watch because I mean nothing against my John boat folks. I was a John boat guy, but John boat guys aren't known for their maintenance on stuff, you know. And yeah, that's why they got John boats.
Yeah.
This guy lost right next to me, and the boards fell off of his trailer. He was pulling. He got the boat off the trailer. They were backing out, and I was getting my boat ready, and backing off my trailer. And I look over there, and as soon as the boat came off, their bunk boards floated. They were not attached.
They still got to go get the buckboards, boys.
Not just one end floated, the entire board floated away.
Oh yeah, the whole board came off and floated away. I went out there and rode around next to the guy for a second before I docked and said, "Hey man, before y'all going to put that thing back on the trailer,
You might want to go get those.
You might want to go get that board that's floating up there by the dock.
Yeah,
that belongs to you."
Yeah. But you know what this is going to do? And I know it's going to do, and I'm including myself. It's going to do it to me. The next time it's a full moon and it's hot, I'm going to think back. I'm like, remember that weekend when it was supposed to be?
Hey man, look, it gives you hope.
I'm going to stay out here. I'm staying out here.
Keep hope alive.
That's right. This is a game changer, people. Show your boat how much you love it. Take it to Gulf Coast Marine Shield. When I say a complete game changer, it doesn't even do justice how much better, more efficient, and gorgeous your boat will be. New boat, older boat, big boat, or small boat. Gulf Coast Marine Shield offers incredible surface protection, from marine protection film to window film, as in your electronics, and ceramic coatings. Your boat will never look better, and it all adds up to complete protection from salt, sand, while helping protect your paint and gel coat. 832-930-5655, Gulf Coast Marine Shield. I'm gonna be killing myself. We have a heat stroke and everything else, but there was that one time, and which is something, of course, that we all do.
The kicker was I got back to the truck, and it was when I turned the truck on, it was 101 degrees in the parking lot.
Yeah, I'd be out on the water.
It was crazy. It was literally boats running every which direction, running all over the place.
Yeah,
a full moon and 101 degrees, and I got tailing fish.
Yeah. You sold me. You sold me. It's why we're here.
All the rules go out the window sometimes.
Yeah, and then it happened. It was cool. I got to. Well, I'll get to that later. But because you mentioned the boards falling off the John boat, did the trailer break? I got a boat ramp confessional for you boys. I got a boat ramp confessional for you. I was so into this because I'd never ever seen anything like this. If you know our friend Jeremy Compton, who you'll see occasionally with these boys and Caleb, and he'll be down at the Feeding Frenzy. I actually picked up the phone. I said, "Hey, I got to know what happened. You got to tell me." So just to set the scene, and the picture is on the Bite Me group page, which of course we always recommend people join. And we'll let you in. Just hit agree when you're asked the questions, and we'll let you in. We've got 11,300 almost members. So apparently in the picture, and I was texting Scott as well. I was like, how did that happen? I've never seen it. I don't know what that one area where from the front of the trailer that includes the crank, the winch, just snapped clean in half. I didn't even think that was necessarily welded right there. I mean, I guess it had to be. And then I asked, so I picked up the phone. I said, yeah. I picked up. I said, I got to know. I've never seen anything like it. So I actually wrote down a couple of things that he was telling me, Jeremy Compton. He said it was another boat that he bought to keep at some property that he has down south. He says he was driving down 181, and he kept checking the boat like we all do. He said, he thought the boat came unstrapped because it got a little squirrely on him. And so he pulled over, and he said, holy bleep, that escalated quickly. The whole thing just snapped in half. Yeah. And then Compton being Compton, he has a bunch of straps in his truck. You know, he does a lot of work out there, and he's an engineer and all that. I'll be damned. He engineered a hell of a good fix. There were straps everywhere. They were all in the right spot. And then here's the kicker. He said that when he had launched and put the boat back on the boat, he had to undo all the straps to be able to launch the boat. So people were just gathered around like, look at this hillbilly. He's got all his boat strapped to the trailer. He's got to take 57 straps off of it just to launch it and then to put it back on the trailer. So of course he said the bar broke. It was coming off the trailer right where the winch is sitting. So he's going to actually, you know, he does all kinds of good work. So he's going to actually weld it, maybe get some galvanized or stainless steel. But it took him 5 minutes. Took him 5 minutes from the time he saw that it snapped in half to get it strapped and get back down the road.
Oh,
I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, Compton, he's a different breed. But yeah, what you're talking about is
That's just a bad idea to try to repair that, though.
Yeah, he's going to redo it. He's going to redo it. He's going to put some galvanized.
And my theory is, and I saw the picture, I mean, and that did require an engineer, not a good engineer, but an engineer. My theory is it rusted from the inside. It's a tube. It's hollow. And if the galvanizing
it was aluminum. By the way, it was aluminum. Yeah.
That's,
it looked brand new. It does not, it doesn't look old.
Man, well, if it's brand new, that need to go back for a warranty. Is what that needs to do, because there's something wrong with that. I mean, that I've seen other trailers though that rust from the inside of the tube and then collapse in an area.
Yeah, that trailer looked. I mean, it looked brand new, and it's just a bad weld. You know, somebody wasn't on their game that day. And the other thing I thought about was he was just bragging about how his son is now helping him get the boat on the trailer and stuff. I was thinking, I wonder if old Jace crashed into that thing a little bit hard at some point. Maybe broke something a little bit loose, you know?
Yeah, you put that extra crack in it.
But the moral of the story is watch your boat, because had he not been watching his boat and doing 70, 75 down the road, and that front end, there's nothing holding the front end on at that point. I mean,
you're right.
The winch was no longer attached. And I don't know if he had transom straps on there or not, but that's another vote for transom straps. And because if he didn't have transom straps and that front end came loose like that, just the air catching on the front end of that boat just lift that sucker right off the trailer and sliding down the road.
Yeah.
Or hit your brakes and it's coming in the back window.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's happened too. Now I'm anal about this. And maybe too anal about it. But when
You're
I'm driving,
anal about everything.
I am anal about everything. But when I'm driving down the road, I'm looking in the right rear view mirror, the passenger rear view mirror to look at the tires and everything. Then the other rear view mirror, then the main rear view mirror in the middle. About at the most 10 minutes, just to make sure.
You might want to look out the windshield every now and then too.
That's unnecessary. That's unnecessary. It boggles my mind when I see these guys just barreling down the road and passing people and all. I'm just anal about it, man. But that's a good reason why right there, because that stuff does happen. But how about Compton, man? Getting it done real quick. All right, so one more here, and then we'll get into some. What would the boys do? So this happened to me, and it was actually during the full moon. And I was surprised because it was a little bit later in the day, probably about 9:30. And it's do's and don'ts when you stumble upon the perfect ball of bait and feeding fish. I think you had texted me when I was at the tail end of this, Dean. You were on another area of Redfish Bay. And I'm like, dude, they're here. It wasn't just a ball of bait that there weren't any fish there. They were popping. They were, flushing the toilet, as Scott likes to say. I caught a couple of trout. It was a ball of bait in about a 150-foot, probably 50-foot area, hopping, jumping on the surface. You see the fish attacking them, and I caught a couple of trout. I'm all excited, and then here comes another boat. And to his credit, he was puttering in, and he kind of waved at me like, is this cool? And I waved back, everything's good. But he puttered into the middle of the bait. Like just smack dab. I was so careful about, I'm going to go to the left a little bit. Well, now I got to troll back because they seem to move a little bit. Then I'm going to go to the right. I'm going to try to pick them off on this side. I wanted to be there for 2 hours catching 1 million trout or redfish. And I waved to my own detriment. I kind of waved like, cool. But he puttered into the middle of the ball of bait. And 10 minutes later, I was over there by Dean. I was like, yeah, that didn't work out the way. So do's and don'ts when you see that perfect scenario. My number one don't, and Scott, I'll start with you, is understand how you have to approach the fish. You don't just get in the middle and say, hey, let's catch some, you know?
And get to a point just to the edge of where you can cast. However far, maybe he can't cast. Maybe, maybe his casting distance is really bad. He just wanted to drop down into him. Maybe he's a crappie fisherman, they just drop straight down.
It didn't help me.
But yeah, stay away, man. Shut the big motor off way out. That's why we have trolling motors. If you don't have a trolling motor, look at what the wind's doing. Go upwind of it, putter up there, cut it off, let it drift into it, and you got time. I mean, that's what I think happens a whole lot is people get frustrated or get excited and they see all that bait on the water. They just got to get there right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's on the top and it's happening, birds are working, bait's up top, fish are blowing up, you got all the time in the world. If there's no other boats messing with it, you just got, you were the only one there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not like you're going to put them down if you're staying off of them.
Yeah.
And then everybody can go catch some fish.
But Dean, it was smack in the middle of the full moon, about 9:30 in the morning. What's your do's and don'ts? It was perfect. It was picture perfect.
We've established the fact that the moon and the time of day
let's get beyond that.
is irrelevant. So, but there's emotions that get involved when they see that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell people when we're fishing on the boat, so especially with topwater fishing, man, you're tap, 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 tap. That fish comes and blows up. Boom! Every muscle in your body says jump. Here comes the lure flying back. Sing! All the way behind the boat. They get emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people see that, their emotions take over common sense and patience. And the reason that I can comment as an expert witness on this subject is that patience is not one of my finer virtues.
you would have been barreled. I could have waved you in.
Patience is a test for me. It tests me whenever I have to slow the system down and wait for things to develop. You will find that those are usually more productive whenever you do that. But I understand the emotional attraction to just jump right in there. Deep
end of the pool, baby. Deep end of the pool. Let's go.
So that's probably what the thought process was on that, But then as your boat is approaching those, the momentum, I mean, you got to stop way before that happens because your boat is always going to continue drifting. And the time it takes to grab a rod and the time it takes to analyze the situation and make a cast, man, you're in there. It's too late. So,
I mean, power pole down.
That's what makes it fun.
Down, get set.
Oh, yeah, power pole.
Yeah.
It's just slow your roll.
Well, the other thing, I mean, and Scott, I'm preaching to the choir here because you do a lot of this every day. Like you kind of have to analyze, before you really jump in and start casting. And that, you know what I mean? And
Scott is so cool. Look, Scott is. Me and Scott could be more opposite ends of the spectrum on that subject. But Scott, I could see Scott in that situation, and I wasn't even there. But he's going to park the boat and wait and let everything happen. And I'm going to be the one that crashes into the fish.
give you a little story on that. A little story time. I'm doing a lot of magazine work, and I'm getting a lot of photos and stuff, and I need some good kayak fishing photos for a kayak fishing article that I'm working on for Paddler Magazine. And Dean are out there on the flats over in Lighthouse, and we got a ton of tails. I mean, we're right there in just the north side of the Lighthouse Lakes on that flat.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a massive school of tails, and they're happy fish, middle of the week, and a soul in sight. Nobody's going to bother them. Nothing's going to happen. It's a foot deep. We can't lose these fish.
Yeah.
I say, you know what the picture I really want? I want to go around to the other side of that school and get set up. And then I'm going to take a picture of you casting towards it and rapid fire and have your lure flying through the air to land on these fish.
A great picture.
Tails in the air. I mean, I had the picture in my head. This is, I mean, I'm going to win some awards with this picture. This is a great idea. The sun's right. Everything's right. Everything except Dean is right. Because I start paddling around the side of them, and I'm watching them out of the corner of my eye, and I'm just going way around them. And I'm about halfway to where I need to be. And I hear, fish on. And I look over, and the whole school has blown up. And Dean has cast into the middle of them.
About that patience, Dean. About that patience.
I prefaced this conversation with the fact that
I look back, I said, what the hell, dude? And he goes, I couldn't help it.
I mean, that's we all have our weaknesses.
We have our shortcomings. We all have our shortcomings.
And we all have our burdens to bear, and mine's sitting right there.
And hey, man, that fish wasn't going to sit there forever.
Hope you caught it.
Hey, he caught it.
Yeah.
Blew the whole damn school up.
Yep.
And I didn't get my picture.
You've heard Mark Nichols on the podcast, and you know he's caught more fish and changed the fishing game like few others. Mark and DOA Lures have everything you need and want on the water. That's what we use. DOALures.com is the website. Of course, you got the classic DOA shrimp, but top waters as well. I'm a big fan of the PT7. You see us using that all the time. That is DOA. Get to a retailer near you. They are all over. Or go to DOALures.com and be sure to listen for Mark Nichols on this podcast. They have revolutionized the fishing industry, and they keep doing it. DOALures.com. Oh, well, you got some other great ones. Oh, by the way, you know, let's talk about that for a little bit. Your pictures, I know your competition awards are coming up later, but scottnollphotography.com. You can, before we get to what would Scott do and what would Dean do this weekend, I'm looking at the weather right now. You can get some Bite Me gear there, get those great award-winning photographs that you have. I always talk about, you know, book these guys because you'll get knowledge like this, you'll get laughs like this. So Dean and Scott and Caleb, you can reach them out there. And then I never really promote myself here. You know, I'm always about you guys. I want you guys to get trips or whatever. So don't forget, there's also Bite Me shirts, and these are the ones that I got specifically to sell at the Feeding Frenzy. But you can get them now. The link is at the top of the Facebook group page. And if you really want to be cool, I just filled a couple of orders of OG sauce. You can go to ogsauce.com and get that. So how about that? A little self-serving. I always try to avoid that, but you guys can take care of the guys, get some sauce, get a shirt, get some caps on scottnollphotography.com, etc. And we'll get you more information. I try not to do it every week, but we'll get some more information on the Feeding Frenzy. It's coming up quick, man. Shout out to so many people that I've already started scheduling some days when I need to go start picking up some of this stuff. So we'll get to that and get you some more information on the Frenzy. But just real quick, RSVP link, raffle tickets, which again, you're not going to get better odds to win a $65,000 boat, and other stuff is going to be raffled as well after. And all that is at the top of the group page on Facebook. So what would Scott do? What would Dean do? I'm looking at the weather forecast for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, maybe Wednesday. You guys want to talk about? Scott, you're always at the ready. What are you thinking right now, man?
Well, I got trips coming up. There are some of our boys from the Bite Me group, Curtis and some of them fellas are park off, and they're all getting together and coming down here. And
oh, nice.
I'm hoping that the weather will hold. I mean, it's been dead calm out there, but with them coming, of course, it's going to blow a little more. I don't know exactly where we're going to be on that. I mean, it's been 1-2s, in 6, 7, 8 seconds. I mean, the beachfront's just been sweet. But of course, the night before they come, it's supposed to be blowing 22. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I think has something to do with that little disturbance out in the Gulf. I don't know what's going on with that. I hadn't had time to look at it. But sunshine and no rain and light winds, bay fishing should be just fine. Everything should be good on that. I just don't know exactly what the beachfront's going to hold for me. May have to stay between the jetties and fish for those tarpon along the rocks. But hopefully we can get out on the beachfront and continue that little game.
Yeah.
The jacks have been going crazy. I sent you pictures of
Yeah.
that big old boy. That's one of the biggest jacks I've ever seen. And we're catching those on top water. So kind of whatever you want to do. The trout are definitely on the drop-offs. When we went wading the other day, one of the guys went over to a drop-off and caught like 9 trout. I mean, just right off the bat. He wanted to trout fish more than redfish. And the other guys went red fishing with me. We're wading in there, throwing top waters and catching reds. Then I've had all these tailing fish. I mean, it's where do you want to fish? What do you like to do? And I think you can pretty much get it done.
Yeah. What about the bay fishing? We talked about that, Dean, and the water temps, and kind of thinking that things are going to slow down. But I mean, it's still there to be had if you want to fish in some of those flats. I know you're going to go out near shore and the jetties, if the weather's right. But it's not necessarily a done deal on some of these higher temps inside, is it?
Oh no. I mean, well, the trick to that is go early. I mean, the days that we hit the flats from daylight for the first 2 hours, the mullet are jumping. I mean, the signs are there. But once that sun gets up, like about 8:30 or 9 o'clock, those mullet become non-existent. So it's been early. And the forecast, back to what Scott was talking about, it's kind of unpredictable. I mean, so the wind forecast for like Thursday and Friday is getting breezy. But I look at that disturbance and you go to the forecast, then they have it moving inland in Louisiana. So it's kind of 50-50 on what you believe on that right now.
Yeah.
Unless there's part of it. I mean, there's some disturbance out in the middle of the Gulf, some rain. I don't know if that's a spinoff of that thing that's kind of coming our way. But I mean, the flats early. And then if the wind is 5 or less, the jetties is where I'm going to be, because it's at the peak right now, but it will start winding down in a couple of weeks. And, I don't want to jinx it, but I probably will. We've been very fortunate that we haven't had any disturbance in the Gulf, but the end of August, 1st of September is when the bad stuff usually starts to happen here. But I mean, even the East Coast, Florida, the Caribbean, there's been nothing this year.
Very, very little. There was that one again.
Quiet. It's spooky, kind of quiet.
Yeah, as they say in the movies, too quiet.
Phil's over here telling me to stop talking about it.
I know.
I've been kicking around running over there to y'all's jetties because we don't have the kingfish and the bait balls like y'all get.
Dude, it's a blast. It's a blast.
Been kicking around running my big boat. And
how long a run down the shoreline are you going to pull?
Oh, shit.
That's a long ways for me to run the boat. I can put it on the trailer and bring it over there easier.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of water.
Yeah. Well, good deal, man. Fun show. No offense to Caleb. He's been texting. He's I guess he's stuck somewhere. We'll figure that out next week. And shout out to all the latest people that have hopped on with donations for the Feeding Frenzy. Again, maybe next week we'll dig in a little bit more on that. But you guys have been great, great stories, and great fun and great advice as always. Appreciate you joining us. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to text me with a question, I already got some texts or messages for next week's rundown. At Lopez on Sports on Twitter and Instagram. You can message me via the Facebook group page or the guys, and they'll get me some stuff as well. So you guys really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us, and you guys catch them up. We'll talk to you next time. Nothing?